Hello and welcome to this COVID-19 update, keeping you connected here on the Bass Coast, presented by Bass Coast Health and proudly sponsored by Wonthaggi Miners Dispensary. This week is National Volunteer Week, the annual celebration to acknowledge the generous contribution of the nation's volunteers. And at this uncertain time, it's more important than ever to recognise these special people. At Bass Coast Health, Mandy Gilcrist is Volunteer Coordinator and she joins you. Good morning, Mandy.
Hello, Kevin, and thanks for having me here.
So, Mandy, how many volunteers do you have at Bass Coast Health?
At Bass Coast Health, we're lucky enough to have just approximately about 300 volunteers across our services.
That's great, isn't it? A lot of people.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Like a lot of us, COVID-19 has meant that we have had to stop doing the things we normally do, and I would presume that is the case for the volunteers at Bass Coast Health. They've had to stop.
That's correct, Kevin, unfortunately, due to COVID. But however, it's been interesting to note our volunteers have been very supportive of Bass Coast Health and the volunteer team. We've used email, Zoom, teleconferences, just to make sure all of our volunteers are up to date on any news, and a great way to keep in contact.
Sure, like all of us. Tell us about the many areas that the volunteers usually cover when they're in full action.
Well, usually we have a rather large driving team, so this enables people within the community to get to metropolitan and both local appointments. We have ward visitors, pastoral care, we have volunteers in our residential homes, we have a car washer, we have ward volunteers that go around with the trolleys and interact with our clients or patients. And we're also well supported by 5 auxiliaries, so we're very lucky.
And what are those auxiliaries responsible for?
Those auxiliaries, very kindly, they raise money and funds to provide equipment for Bass Coast Health, enabling us to improve our services.
Now, I'm sure you're in contact with them all. Well, you said you just are. I bet they're busting to get back into things. When do you think that might be?
It's a little tricky to actually predict that, and I assume it would run very much to announcements made by the government. But we're slowly starting to trickle our volunteers back into roles where it's safe to do so. And over the next coming weeks, we will keep integrating volunteers back into our services.
Right. What's the driving force behind a volunteer at Bass Coast Health?
They've got a passion for the community and a passion for our health organisation.
Mm-hmm. And when they become a volunteer, do they remain so for quite a while?
Absolutely. Some of our dear volunteers have been with us for 35, 40 years.
That's brilliant, isn't it? And when things do return to normal, if people have had a little bit of time to think and they would like to become a volunteer for Bass Coast Health, how do they go about it?
Simply call on 5671 3372 or email me at mandy.gilcrist@basscoasthealth.org.au.
How long have you been a coordinator, Mandy?
8 years.
And you're enjoying it?
Love it.
I think you relish in it, don't you?
Love it.
Yeah. And you get to meet some amazing people, I'm sure.
We do. We do, from all walks of life.
Yeah, and it must be very satisfying for the volunteers after they've been there for even just 12 months or 6 months or 6 weeks to know that they've made a difference.
It's a sense of belonging for people, I think, Kevin, and I think Bass Coast Health is inclusive of our volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a little home for a lot of people.
Sure. And as I said, they're busting to get back, and I hope this is a reassurance that it won't be long, but we must wait for those government announcemements. And also just celebrating National Volunteer Week. It is a great thing to do and a great focus on the volunteers at Bass Coast Health, and a nice little focus on you too, Mandy. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Mandy Gilcrist, Coordinator of Volunteers at Bass Coast Health, for this COVID-19 update. Another one coming up soon, and until then, take care.